The game says a base already exists here, but I just discovered this system. Thanks to viewer Gravanaut, I now know why. GoodGuysFree here, let's get started. I'm a space nerd, and I had to ask myself, are the planets in No Man's Sky star system aligned? Do they all point north the same way? The plan was straightforward. Head into a freshly discovered system, one nobody had ever been to, and place a base computer at every planet's north pole. Same coordinates, every planet. Then fly straight up from one of them, turn the camera around, and see them all together. 5 or 6 planets, all at 90 degrees north. Now, here's the thing. While I was planning this, a viewer named Gravanaut left a comment on one of my videos. He had discovered something strange. He placed a base computer at coordinates 0 and plus 45 on one planet, then another at 0 minus 45 on a different planet. Both worked fine. But when he tried to place one at 0 plus 45 on a third planet, the game refused him. Universal Archive search reveals previous base registration. Same coordinates, different planet. The server said no. His comment made me suspect I wouldn't be able to place all of mine either. And he was right. Planet 1, North Pole, 90 degrees north latitude, minus 85.26 longitude. Base computer down. Planet 2. I tried my best to reach 90.0 and 115.0. Placed a base computer, success. Planet 3, again as accurate as I can, but each small movement shifted the longitude coordinate a lot. Still success. Planet number 4, aim and warning. Universal Archive search reveals previous base registration. There is no previous base here. I discovered this system myself. It was pristine. But Gravanaut had already shown me the pattern. The server wasn't checking which planet I was on. It was checking my coordinates system-wide. Now, why was I able to place 3 before hitting the wall, while Gravanaut only placed 2? The answer is in how No Man's Sky stores its planets. And it changes everything. Look at this. I'm at the North Pole, 90 degrees point 0. I move barely, and the longitude coordinate, it swings dozens of degrees. Here's the non-obvious part. No Man's Sky does not store planets as spheres. Underneath, it stores them as cubes.
So, planet structure. Our planets are spheres. They're not just spheres when you look at them in space. They're spheres when you stand on them on the ground. So, our physics is done on a sphere. There are a lot of things that come from making your planet spheres that are tricky to work with. That said, spheres are a super bad shape for us to store our data in. So our data for the planet, our voxel data, is stored on the faces of a cube.
I just want to thank Captain Steve for allowing me to use this piece of footage. He's an amazing creator and an amazing guy who's helped me on multiple occasions since this channel was only a few hundred subs. Highly recommended. I learned so much from him. If you're not subscribed, you should be. Check him out. Okay, so the voxel data for every planet, the terrain, the resources, everything, lives on the sphere. All of that gets procedurally generated. But when they need to store something, say a base computer's location for example, they store it on the face of a cube. To know where to place that item on the sphere, they have to transform the coordinates. That means the game deforms the cube into the shape of a sphere. This distorts the coordinates, and if the game is measuring distances on the face of the cube, instead of converting them to their locations on the sphere to measure, then that will distort the distances measured. How? Look at this. A tiny sidestep at the North Pole translates to an enormous coordinate jump. 2 bases at the same pole can look like they're on the same spot, but the cube face math says they're far apart. That's why I placed 3 without an issue, all at 90.0 and close to 115.0. But if I was looking in different directions, and at the North Pole you can't see the direction, or everything you see is south, if I was looking at different directions when I placed the base computer, that could translate to more than 300 U by the distortion created by the cube shape. 3 of them landed outside the collision radius of each other. The 4th one was colliding with one of the others. I don't know which one. But Gravanaut wasn't at the pole. He was on the equator at plus 45 and minus 45 longitudes. Stable equatorial coordinates. Minimal to no cube distortion to spread things out. His first 2 bases were at different values, plus or minus 45 longitude, so they passed. But his third, an exact repeat, collided immediately. So it seems the base server doesn't maintain one database per planet, it uses a single database per system, and the developers relied on the sheer vastness of space to prevent collisions. They assumed we'd never hit this. They assumed wrong. I couldn't place that 4th base. but I flew straight up anyway, and I turned around. Look at the ice caps, all pointing the same way. Every planet. The system has a shared orientation. North is north everywhere. I was right. But that planet has rings, and they're clearly not around the equator. That's bizarre when I look at it this way. At least their north poles are locked to the same direction. It's a pity the ice caps can't be seen from the ground. They're only visible from space, but they prove something the game doesn't advertise. 3 things are now confirmed. 1. Planets in a No Man's Sky system share an orientation. The ice caps prove it visually. North is north for all of them. 2. The base server uses system-level coordinates, not planet-specific ones. Same longitude and latitude anywhere in the system equals a collision. Gravanaut was right. 3. The cube-to-sphere projection explains why poles behave differently than mid-latitudes. Coordinate instability near 90 degrees north creates natural separation that stable equatorial coordinates don't have. What I couldn't figure out, and like always I welcome comments with things I missed or got wrong, is the render distance. When I flew up from that planet, how far could I go before other planets stopped being visible? I didn't measure it exactly, but at around 4500 ks, some visual glitches began. Also, I don't know what the exact collision radius is at the poles because the cube projection makes it inconsistent. This is where you come in. Try this. Pick a new system, place a base computer at the same coordinates on different planets. How many succeed? How many fail? Does it change near the poles versus at the equator? Drop what you find in the comments. I want the data, please. Gravanaut, thank you. Your comment arrived while I was already planning this experiment. It turned a curiosity into something confirmed. If you found this useful, hit like and consider subscribing. GoodGuysFree here, and I'll see you again soon.